Christ.
Thought I was doing the intro. Right, and on that note, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Not Worth a Cork. Tonight we are doing a little podcast on Discord. If you've joined us, or if not, it will be uploaded on our channel. We are going to be telling tales and jokes, riffs, stories.
It's story time.
This extended TED talk, if you will,
it is
about our 3 days of excess and emptying all of the money and buying all of the whiskey shop.
Completing it.
Whiskey shop challenge completed.
Or just the game, the whiskey shop completed. Yes.
The game lost.
I'm here, by the way, guys. Hi. I like that, by the way, you're assuming the position to lean in as if the computer will be your voice.
True.
I'm leaning back because I know the microphone is by my face.
Yeah, I don't.
That's interesting.
Yeah, this is the. And yes, Burns Day. Yes, indeed. That was, I believe, yesterday.
I did buy a sample of that Burns stuff.
You
I thought
did.
I'd have it next year, so I don't forget.
So yes, thank you to those who have joined us. Please, if you join, type in the barracks, and we will try and entertain you.
Yes, and anyone listening to this on Not Worth a Cork, I hope you don't mind any random rustling noises, thudding. The microphones, David doesn't stay where it needs to because he's got a very small frame, so it doesn't like to be anywhere. Mine decided randomly to fold out, so I had to move it back.
This is an on-location stream as well.
Yes, we're in the mecca of David's boudoir.
Yes.
I mean living room. Sorry.
We are surrounded by nearly as much whiskey as was in the shop earlier.
Almost as many bottles as there are DVDs. They take up less space and they bleed out into both cabinets. So it turns out it's really 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, I think there's one extra shelf for whiskey.
Yeah, but they take up more space.
True, which is more shelves in it.
And your modem also gets in the way as well. That's a different modem.
That's the EE one rather than the BT one.
Oh, marvellous. Anyway, so we this adventure started on Friday. I had to go to work and I had to alter my plans a little because I didn't want to take my rucksack to work. Now, my rucksack had to stay with me at all times because for the past 12 months into a pot, I was putting cash from a job I don't really need the money from. I just do it because money. They pay in cash, otherwise I wouldn't bother. I really don't see the point. Although if YouTube goes down the drain, I will need it, you know? So I've been saving it all year and I saved up a substantial amount of money. And I counted it. So saved up, I counted it multiple times. Leona, who is in the VC as well, can of course confirm in the barracks if she wishes. She knows I counted it multiple times. And I travelled around 9:30 from where I was to go all the way up to Norwich. And I walked from there because I was a bit late. Trains were on time except for the one that got to Norwich itself. There wasn't a platform for us, so we had to wait 10 minutes. David was going to meet me there, so we had to wait a little while. And we went to a couple. We didn't go there first. We went somewhere else first. We went up the high street, didn't we?
We went to HMV.
We went to CX
and,
as well.
CX and Hotel Chocolat.
Yes. HMV bought a couple of DVDs each.
We went there first to make sure we had the money for those things.
Yes. Went to Hotel Chocolat, got myself a classic cabinet, reduced, which was great. Bought David some tiramisu. He bought some hot chocolate, which we've had some of. It's great.
Had nearly half the box of it.
Yeah. And we sort of then we meandered, looked at Langley's, which sell swords and bits and bobs.
There was, of course, a requirement to look at the swords. As always, Meg can't come to Norwich without looking at a sword.
I can never avoid it. But opposite there-ish was another shop that sells spirits, and inside they had the 2024 Paul John Christmas edition, and they had it reduced by £21. 20. You got the receipt there?
That was.
It was down from 75 to 40.
66 to 45.
Oh right, £21 reduced.
£21.
Yeah, which is ridiculous for a Paul John. So I grabbed one of the three, paid for it, left the shop, and gave it to David.
Yeah, their rationale for reducing it was because it says 2024 on the bottom and Christmas. Yeah. So they were like, "Well, it's gone past its date now." We're like, "What?
Freeing up space, but what's the markup on that?" But anyway,
yes, it was handed to me, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, so I gave David that because I thought, I don't need it. Somebody sent me one for Christmas. I thought that was great. And then we walked to the whiskey shop, and
yes.
Well, the first day wasn't as interesting as the second, but the first evening was
great. We'll get to that later.
Yes, so I walked in, and we were talking to the man there, and he's lovely.
Yes.
and David had already pre-ordered about 6 bottles for me, totaling a value of £1,705.
Yes, and
Don't worry.
because the guy in the shop knows us from last year's escapades and me going and pre-ordering. He just was good with us doing this. No money up front. No actual real confirmation. Just can we have that one, and that one put aside? Meg was on the phone doing voice messages to each
WhatsApp,
other, and we were playing them out in the shop so the guy could hear what we wanted.
Context: 2 weeks-ish prior, David had gone into the Norwich whiskey shop and he sent me messages about with pictures, which some of you saw on the server. I don't type messages. I send audio back.
Yeah.
So David just played it for the very guy who was in the shop, so he knew what I was.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
Because they were part of the issue was they were going to send some stock back.
Oh yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that certain things were held. So
Yes,
we're like, that.
We'll talk about that later.
Could you also order these in? He was like, I'll have to email about that, but yes, we'll go for it.
So the 3 I put aside was the Bemore Aston Martin 21-year-old.
Yep.
The Glenfiddich Grand Cru 23,
Yep.
and the Loch Lomond Manzanilla 24-year-old cask, which was a quite close one. They were in the shop, put aside. There was another Bemore, and I promise you, if things hadn't gone up to plan, I might have bought it. And I asked for the 3 Diageo special releases I needed to complete the set, to go with the taster set as well. So I have a complete set and some.
Yes, but those they didn't have, and according to the website, they were out of stock. So he was like, leave it with me. I'll look into it. I'll send some emails, and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Again, no money down, nothing. Just I can order them in, and if we can get them, we'll get them.
He's good. We know he's most definitely good for it. So those were there. I then, because it was quiet-ish, it wasn't too busy. I then presented the swag box, which is just over there. It's literally a Pirate's Grog sample box, and put it on the counter and opened it, and he was like, "Oh no," because of all the bags of pound coins. He had to trust me.
Yeah, it's imagine a smaller version of the chest in Pirates of the Caribbean with Davy Jones' heart.
I wanted a chest. I would love to. I would love to carry that instead, because that is such a flimsy little box. But I put it at the bottom of my rucksack. I only ditched it once, right at the end when we were stuck waiting to get a platform.
Yeah,
and I couldn't get into the bathrooms otherwise, because the smaller ones aren't.
Yeah.
Sorry for the cough.
So we do seem to have a good relationship with the man there.
He initially counted the money and said that it was 2,200 or 2,300. Oh no, the total was 22 or 2,300.
Yeah, he counted up the total of the bottles because some of them, because I'd essentially ordered some of them. It got a bit confusing because some were put aside.
You must have put yours on.
Yeah, some had got put aside for you.
Yeah.
Under your name, because I had your details, but some of them, because he'd ordered, they were under my name because he was contacting me about them.
I think when he gave,
and then obviously I had one there as well. So I think
right. So when you when he added it all up, I think he added it up and included.
I think I put my 2 in as well. Yeah.
So the only other thing I added to the pile were 2 bottles of Loch Fyne Acacia Honey liqueur, which is a whiskey liqueur at 40%, like the chocolate orange.
Yeah.
Can confirm. Got to try it.
Yeah.
Lush.
Very, very good.
Oh, yes.
And also dangerous, like the chocolate orange.
We'll get to that later. I then, once we'd confirmed the amount, I went to go get the Morclac 13, which had just been recalled. I was salty, okay? I was very salty.
So those of you wondering about the salt intensifiers comment on the server a few days ago, this is why.
Yes. Now, I'm going to go to our Instagram for a second because I had to make a change, of course. So I decided to get the Bunnahabhain 21 because I was always going to get it. I then decided to get, because that's 7 bottles, a bottle of the Acacia Honey for me is 8. I walked away with 10 in there, though. So I think...
this is how bad it is. We're having to do a list and a photograph.
No. Because the receipt's in my coat, but I can't be asked. No. I then decided, because I was like, I want a big, bold, absolutely in-your-face show-off bottle. So I said, right, do it quickly, or I'm going to change my mind. I'll take the Bunnahabhain 30.
Yeah.
£599 later.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and get the receipt, and I'll actually tell you verbatim what I got. And then there'll be a little laugh as well, because there's something else to add to this little story. Because, right, I had the receipts.
He has been very much diligent in his accounting for this, tax purposes, isn't it?
That's not one. Not that one.
Maybe a moment. There's a lot of receipts.
Not that one. No, it's 4. Okay, so I bought. Okay, so there was a little left over, basically. I need you to turn the sleep mode off there. Thank you. So I gave the remainder of the money to David, which was £147. Are you really that much of a boomer?
Sorry, I clicked
Okay.
I double tapped Audacity
That's
rather
fine.
than clicking back to
So I
Discord.
bought the Bowmore 21, the Loch Lomond Open Course 24,
Yeah.
the Glenfiddich 23, 2 bottles of Lochfine Honey Liqueur, Bunnahabhain 21 Pedro Jimenez Limited Edition,
Yep.
Ben Rins 21 Special Release, Lagavulin 12-year-old Special Release, Mortalac NAD No Age Statement Special Release, Glencairn Secret Highland 10cl bottle, just a Secret Highland for a bit of fun, and for myself, Bunnahabhain 30.
Yep. 2
bottles, though, included, I gave to Dave to buy. He bought Kilchoman Seneg and Kalila Distillers Edition. And I in cash, now, okay, this is a bit, I saved up for a whole year just to do this once. I'm not doing this again. I saved
this
up
was nuts.
£2,790 in cash. Because of David, it was £2,791. I went over my bloody budget because of this tosser. So he had to pull 90p out of his little man purse, and the guy who served us had to then pull out 10p that was left on the counter just so I didn't have to pay by card.
Yeah,
because I was going to have to because of David. No, I'm kidding.
It was quite funny. Like, we must have a pound between us.
Yeah.
I had 90p.
I had,
you were out, and the guy was like, "Oh, there's 10p here. I've got that."
It's a bit old and a bit tatty. Here, you can have that.
So
but yeah, I made sure David was nice, but David did buy some things for himself as well. What did you buy again?
Yeah, so David bought the Penderyn, the Tawny Port single cask, which goes with the single sherry cask I bought last year. So I saw that, and that one I bought when I was in there arranging things for Meg.
Yeah.
And I also put aside the Balvenie 14-year-old Week of Peat, because we have had a sample of it before, and it was really nice.
So before you carry on, for those who don't know, Leona will know this. I had said that if David, because he had told me he wouldn't have been able to get the Balvenie, if he hadn't, I was going to buy it for him. So of the 2 Acacia Honeys, I gave him one of those as well anyway. So he walked away with 4 from me anyway.
The Balvenie only became a problem because of a little distillery called Glenmorangie.
Oh, yes, go on.
This is why the Balvenie became a problem.
You signed up, though.
I signed up because this is what you're signed up for, and you got fancy things. So I was like, I want fancy things. So I signed up, and I got an email. Now, there's a bottle from Glenmorangie I have been wanting for a while, but sort of have always ignored because it's quite expensive. Yeah. Because we're changing like the bottling and the design, we're selling off the existing ones. Members get, let's say, a significant discount.
Enough that
30% off.
So, I gave David a tin or a jar to put money in, and he had enough money to buy it. And he asked me, and I was like,
"Well, I had the cash for the Penderyn and the Balvenie, but thanks to the donations that had come through from some of the bits we've done on here,
I transferred money.
I had some extra, and I was like, I can either get the Balvenie or I can get this.
He messaged me and asked, and I straight up said, if you don't buy it, you're a pussy.
So I bought it. It is the Glenmorangie Signet. It's one of the more fancy bottles. The picture is on the server.
Lovely box.
Very
nice.
fancy box and bottle.
It's not just to be... So David's torn whether to open it or not. It's not one of the most celebrated Morangies of all time. It is not a collection piece. It is a show-off piece.
It's a very show-off piece, which looks awesome, but the tasting note sounds like something I really want to drink.
So this is the thing where... what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? Right?
I suppose I did get it at a good discount, so if I do drink it, it's...
Imagine going into that shop again when we get to the story later, and you bring that and I buy like a Bunnahabhain 25 in Norwich. It's like, that is one hell of a fun little afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
But yeah, we walked in, we bought... David bought the Week of Peat. He got Kilchoman, Seneg, and a Kalila, which is a Moscatel cask. your Penderyn, you got a bottle of Lochfine Acacia Honey, a bottle of Paul John Christmas Edition 2024, which is rum cask.
But thanks to then further donations that we got through your birthday stream, I then found that I did just about have enough for also getting the Balvenie.
Yeah, the Week of Pete 14-year-old, which we are going to be having in this VC soon.
Yes, which as we are talking about it, I will crack it open. Seems like the ideal.
No lie, I had considered if I changed my mind, Balvenie 25 was on the table, but I really wasn't sure. Now, because of what I had spent, I'd like to say both of us, to be fair, but let's face it, it was.
I spent a lot, but most of it wasn't my money.
Exactly.
Which is the best way to do it.
Absolutely, but I mean, I can't wait for your parents to see all that. But no, I basically. Who said that?
Oh, thank you,
Leona, for putting the picture on the server. I don't
know if this is going to work, but I'm going to attempt a cork pop.
Well, okay. Do you cork? Go on.
Nice cork.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Oh.
Right. We got invited.
So we're just sticking noses in.
Oh, you need to blow into it first, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Because then you just put your fat nose in there. But because of essentially what I spent, and it was a one-off. I'll do a single, thank you. You can have double, it's yours, isn't it? But we got invited to a tasting evening at the whiskey shop. Now, I inquired about this and I said, how many people? 16 people.
Yeah, inquired thinking maybe 7 or 8 maybe.
I thought 4 to 5. And I was like, oh, this would be easy for me, And then we went back. We went and got KFC, Chimkin. Eventually went back to David's, dropped everything off, came back.
Yeah, we had to verify this as well because he'd said when I was there prepping that he'd hook us up to the tasting. Yeah. So we had to just verify, what do we do with this? And he was like, here's what we're having, just turn up at this time.
We turned up and he did verify during that we were okay. And I was like, I'm glad you say that, or I'm going to ask for a refund.
Because one of the other guys was there asking, had we paid? And we kind of nodded at him. And he looked at the other guy, and the other guy, those two are good.
Yeah. We're good. My money is good. All right. And we asked him, actually, and he put it in a carry bag and had to put it upstairs because he still hadn't counted it. And he hadn't counted it the next day either because he was so busy sorting out. We'll get to that later. So we went to the tasting evening, and I've got a photo, and I'll put it on the server in a bit, and there'll be a reason for it. We tried 5 different whiskies. 4 of them we'd never had before. We had Filey Bay, a Yorkshire whiskey. We then had Highland Park 15-year-old, which was shit.
New style bottling as well, which looked terrible.
Beige, like British food. We then had Loch Fyne single cask Lechig 10-year-old, which was quite nice.
Loch Fyne, if you don't know, is like a whiskey shop kind of exclusive bottling.
We'll get to Loch Fyne. Yeah, they do liqueurs and we've tagged them on Instagram on the Not Worth the Cork Insta. By all means, go and follow them.
If anyone from any of the distilleries that sees that photo is listening and we haven't tagged you, I'm sorry, it got really confusing because there were so many things to tag.
Yes, we then tried Edredar 11-year-old, the whiskey shop exclusive cask strength Oloroso cask, 57.9%. It was
banging.
Okay. So the 5th one, Berry Bros and Rudd single cask, 14-year-old, 56.6%, a Kalila. Now, I had to flip a coin over which one of these I was going to use my discount on in that shop to buy. I bought the Berry Bro and Rudd single cask because only 260 bottles of it. And I was like, well, yeah, it was lovely. So was the Edredar, to be fair. David, the next day, we'll get to that soon.
It escalated on. The Filey Bay was nice and light. Well, the Highland Park was kind of mid-level for ABV.
Bullshit. I'm sorry, the Filey Bay was better.
Yeah, I was talking the ABV level. Yeah, Filey Bay was better than Highland Park.
It did go up.
It was like low 40, mid 40, mid 50s.
Late 60s, mid 50s. But no, it didn't stop though, because then a lady there, only one, she and her partner, she had asked if she could try the Secret Orkney Signatory.
Yeah.
And so others got to try it. You got to try it.
I had some of that night.
I didn't, because I was like, I've had 5 samples. I'm quite happy. I bought the bottle. We had a great time. But then there was something else.
Yeah, because I helped you with the decision, because you were and ahhing about it, and because they did a vote at the end
best one
for best whiskey. Now Highland Park actually got 1 vote, or 2. Okay,
they were next to you because you shat on them.
Yeah, because it wasn't the guy immediately.
No, it was 2 over, and you said it was crap, and you were so loud as well.
Yeah, Filey Bay got a couple.
Ironically loud.
You, I voted for the Edredauer. I just preferred it over the Kalila.
I was torn.
But you voted for the Kalila. So when you were saying like, what one should I go for? I said, well, you voted for the Kalila as your favourite.
The Edredauer was lovely. I still would like the Edredauer, to be fair. Okay, so during that, the man running the event, there were two guys there, lovely guy with glasses doing all the pouring and handing out crackers that I didn't want to touch, and no cheese. We were very disappointed. But they did a quiz with cryptics. Now, technically, you could only win one. There were 5 in total. I should have won 3 because I was quick. Right, the first one was a Simpson. Because of Burns Night, every answer had to be a name of somebody with the last name Burns. The first one was Monty Burns from The Simpsons. I said it, but I wasn't loud enough. Second one, Spin Me Right Round. I immediately shouted Pete Burns, and I won a sample of Glengoyne 12. The third one, somebody said it before it even got asked. We all booed and hissed because they said George Burns, and the owner told me about them earlier, and I've already forgotten. The fourth one was a character from a show that is my favourite show of all time. So I told David ahead of it, before it even came out, I said, if they talk about a doctor, a hospital, imaginary actor, anything like that, it's Frank Burns. And the moment it came up, I nudged him and he said it. And he got a Blair Athol? Blair Athol? 12?
Blair Athol or Glendronach?
No, Blair Athol. You got Blair.
Blair Athol's down there.
Blair Athol 12. He got a sample of Blair Athol 12, which means I got 3. Okay, but I can only win 1. I'm annoyed because Glengoyne 12 isn't that good. But I'm going to put it on my winning shelf because I won it.
You did win it, yeah.
So I won some free whiskey.
Go on your prize shelf next to the Nika 12.
me and the guy running the event, he didn't know about, like, there was 2 spin-offs for MASH. He didn't know. So we were talking about that in the middle of a shop with 16 people.
Yeah.
And I felt very self-conscious. There was a guy next to me called David. We'll talk about him soon, don't worry. He was talking to me as well. We were making jokes. It was hilarious. He was a lovely older man. Just so much fun to talk to. We'll get to that soon.
Yep.
And we were talking about like more MASH stuff, and others were sort of, less interested. But it was a great evening. It really was. We had so much fun. We drank a lot. We came back here and went to bed.
We got embarrassed as well because twice.
Oh God!
Because at one point after one of the questions, I think there's one you won.
Yeah, he mentioned
how much money you dropped in the shop.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, he said that guy dropped $3,000. I'm like, I'm licking my tongue is on my top tooth. I'm like, you cunt. Why, bitch?
Yeah.
If they rob me, it's your fault.
Yeah. And then a little bit later, to be fair, I suppose he had no need to do this, but he did introduce the fact that we do not worth a cork.
And I went red.
He went red. I had to talk about it, so I just sort of said about we sit and drink.
I said where the name came from,
Yeah.
I talked about that.
But I mean, he had no reason really to do that. He is actually quite interested in the fact we do this, partly because through Meg's reach on YouTube, we've helped his son get more subscribers on his own YouTube.
Python_RL.
Yes.
Everyone go subscribe, please.
But also partly because he thinks it's quite interesting that we do this. And every time I go in, he does talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was asking about when we do these things and that. So I think so what Meg doesn't 100% know, which I've semi-agreed with the guy in the shop, is that he is happy for us to go in there after they close one evening and us do a podcast with him from the shop when you come visit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that would be terrible. We have to bring a decent microphone.
Yeah. But,
okay.
We've got 3 lapel mics.
Yeah, but we have to have 2 separate audio setups.
True.
We have to work it out first.
Yeah, but anyway, so he is happy for us to do a on-location whiskey shop.
That would
not
be
worth a cork.
An absolute laugh, because he's arguably one of the most. We've now found out he's not just fun, but he's a different level of fun. Because during that, he also said, because he didn't realise it. Last year we went in and I dropped $1,200 in cash. I promised him I'd double it.
Yeah.
He set us up with about 6 samples of medicine bottles, and last year, during this. That's what I was going to get to, actually. I forgot it. During this evening, he then looked at us and went, I didn't give you any samples. And he's
in front of 16 other people.
and then he says, come back in tomorrow. And then I was talking to the guy called David next to me, and I told him what I bought, Bunnahaven 30. And he's like, because he asked him what I bought.
Yeah.
And he said, I got Glen Scotia 25. And I was like, come in tomorrow at 12. We'll be here.
And then we started talking about Octomores as well.
Octomores, we were talking about Octomores, and he brought in, we'll get to that soon. Don't worry, we got this.
Yeah.
But, let's try this.
Did you hear the other people, though, when he said to us about the samples and the not worth a cork, there was 2 other people in the call going, we do a thing. do we get some samples? And he started asking them about it, and they're like, oh no, actually we don't really. They tried to cash in and like, oh, can we get some samples?
Hey,
He
look.
literally went, oh, what's it called? What do you do it on? And they're like, okay, no, we don't.
Okay. No. Well, I mean, good on them for trying.
Yeah.
So, we had a great time. We came home, went to sleep, and we had plans for Saturday. The plan was to go to the English distillery, but some things have occurred where we had to change our plans. And so we changed our plans, and we went at lunchtime. We went to Norwich. Went earlier. We went in earlier to go and do some shopping. I bought
see
some.
What you mean about the writing on the bottle? I'm not
The
reading that.
Balvenie Week of Peat box is an encyclopedia. Now, we went to a few shops, bought a few knickknacks, chocolates, toys, bits and bobs. We had a bit of fun. And then we went, as we promised, to the whiskey shop. And we got there a little bit early, 10 minutes early. And I swear I saw him go in. So I was like, I recognise that jacket. And David was already there. And he had already brought the whiskey with him. It turns out he'd stayed at the guy who was at the shop's home.
They went to the pub after doing the tasting because obviously they needed more alcohol.
Yes, well, I'll get to that soon because I've got it written down. Now,
we should have some of this first before we're getting...
Okay,
so
this is the Balvenie... Okay, go on, you tell me.
We're going to jump backwards slightly because this is the Balvenie 14-year-old Week of Peat.
Yes.
We've had a glass poured for a while now. We haven't got around to having any yet.
This is from Dufftown, like Singleton and Glenfiddich. It is 48.3%. Don't kick things, you ADHD. Cheers. In downward glasses.
Well, it's a matching pair, so... And we also learned apparently you blow.
Oh yeah,
I'll let you tell because you like this.
David, the other David, he blew into his nosing glass rather than putting his nose into it, and the fumes just come up. It helps it remove a certain spirity quality, and I will admit I do prefer it. A little blow. I won't do it too near the mic. Actually, I'm worried. Yeah.
But yeah, blow the spirit off, and then
it's lovely. Okay, so
that is good.
The plan was, David and I sorted out some samples, because when we were at the event, we negotiated. I said I'd bring the Bunnahabhain 30, and we'll crack that open, and we'll have a taster.
Yeah.
David were like, yes.
Yeah, and then when you were buying your...
you mentioned yours.
I said to him about the Highland Park ice, because we'd had the Highland Parks.
Yep.
So I said, well, I've got Highland Park ice. I'll bring you a sample of that.
Yep.
And then obviously we started talking about Octomores between us all as well. So we brought a sample of my Octomore with as well.
So we went in and we waited for a few... It was very busy, people coming in and out, but we stood in the middle of the shop at lunchtime.
Lunchtime on a Saturday.
David, at that point, what did you eat in that day?
A bowl of cocoa shreddies.
I had eaten, 2 hours before you, a bowl of Weetabix. I had not eaten anything up to that point of lunchtime. We needed lunch after this, I promise you. And
bearing in mind, at this point, we were still actually planning on going to the English whiskey shop for like an hour, grab something prep or Cafe Nero or something for lunch, and then go to the English.
So just before the shots, the list here, that there is a photo of, don't worry, there was another detail we need to add. So when David called me 2 weeks prior to me coming up here to tell me about what was in the shop, he mentioned that somebody had just bought the Macallan Night on Earth Jerez.
Yes.
Because the last two I've got, I wanted this for my birthday. Along with the Mort, like 13, but that's another.
Yes.
But they had one behind the counter when I went in the other day, 2 days ago.
Friday,
And thank you. 2 days ago then, when I went in, and I inquired, and he emailed the man who had put it aside so long ago.
The same day, in fact, that I was in there securing the 6 bottles and mine.
Exactly. And so I went in for the tasting evening and I said, "Did you get any information back?" And he went, "No." "Okay. If it's still there tomorrow, I'm buying it." And he said, "Yes, it is." Cool. Went in the next day and I said, "If by the time we finish all these samples, it's still not claimed, I'm buying it. The card's on the counter."
Yeah, and he was like, "I'll send him one more email."
During this, we also took the liberty of looking at something. So the Whiskey Club offer points. If you're a member, you get 4 points for every £1. For every 1,000 points, you get £20 off as a voucher. You can only use it once per order. I had at that point 300 points. I went in the next day when it finally updated. I had nearly 12,000. I have now nearly 10,000 because I used 2 more because I made some more purchases.
Yes.
And I'll get to those soon. I've got the receipts. But we started with Bunnahabhain 30. Now, I opened this. It has a screw.
Actually, no, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Yes, I did.
No,
What did you have first?
I didn't. But you did.
Okay, well,
Irishman. He brought that as a opening sample.
Oh, I need to
the
put that on
Irishman.
Yeah, we all had a
I've
shot.
just remembered that.
Yeah, we all had a shot. Okay, I'll write that down. Sorry, hang on. 20. All right.
He started with that as a warm up, shall we say, an aperitif.
Aperitif, that's what he called it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a really low level, not low level, but for what we were about to have,
Yes.
quite low quality whiskey.
I passed on some of what we had because of driving.
Shut up. We started with the Bunnahabhain 30. Yeah. Okay, after the Irishman. Thank you. Actually, it's very important because I didn't remember that. And understandably so.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you're going to love this. I've got a picture. I have to update the picture. So I poured a measure for everyone. I asked the 2 employees would they like a bit, and they both went, "Oh, you twisted my arm." One didn't want to finish. Can you turn that sleep mode off?
Yeah.
2 employees working. One was serving customers. Both were actually, and they were working quite heavily around this. Me, David, and David. We were just stood there like a pair of plebs, a triple of plebs, a thruple of plebs. We
couldn't find where to go because we started off in the middle of the shop, then we moved to the side, then we were in the way of the card machine, so we moved back.
Yeah, we did a little okie cokey.
In the end, we just basically walked round out of the customers' ways.
I mean, we were after a while just walking around anyway because our legs were gone. But we did that, and the Bunnahabhain 30, by the way, was an honestly
absolutely amazing.
And the manager, I think he's the manager, the guy who helped niced us.
Yeah.
He mentioned just to let it sit on your tongue for a little bit, and it was beautifully sweet. Very
I did
sherry.
say to Meg, as it's his whiskey, he had to do the 30 seconds, but he didn't.
I did 20. I was like, I didn't want to sit there too long. It felt wrong because I was talking and having fun. And I just felt, if I do that, I'm like a pretentious idiot.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and then.
But the guy was like, "Oh, I'm going to put this to one side." And he wrote a little note for what it was. I'm going to put this to one side, and then. He realised that more things were being opened, and he was kind of looking at the other stuff and then looking back, and he's like,
he finished it.
I'm going to have this now.
And the other guy who was working, who didn't join us for the tasting evening, he did his. He was like, that's the best. He was so excited to try it. He loosened up really fast.
He didn't know what you'd offered him to start with, because he just said no to start with.
I did ask, would you like Bunnahabhain 30? I don't think he knew it was Bunnahabhain 30, but I did ask.
Because he was like, I'd like one. I can't afford that, though. I'd like one. No, and you were like, no, would you like some? And he was like, Well, yes.
My view is, if I'm going to buy something to open, I want to share it. And that's something that the other David agreed on.
Yeah.
And so he had brought Glen Scotia 25, which was also on my list.
Yeah. And to be fair to him, he didn't have a lot of it left either.
But he sent it. Yeah. He shared it. And that was also an absolute delight.
Yeah.
Now, next on the list for the majority, it did change at some point, but it got messy. And I can't do the exact order because there are a few gaps.
It got messy.
Right. So first on the list of the definitive list, as opposed to the additional stuff you provided, and there are a few gaps because something else you had I didn't touch. Ochtermore 15.10, which is the 10-year-old Ochtermore, as opposed to the 5-year-old standard.
Yes.
Which was not like smoky bacon.
Yes, this was another one that was a very swerve because Octomores don't do
they do 1,
generally
2, 3, 4,
aged whiskey. It's 1, 2, 3 normally. Odd series they have a 4, but a 0.10 is.
You said aged accidentally before you said the points.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I don't want to correct it. I'm just going to point out he didn't mean that. It was they're all aged as a 5 as a standard. The 10's the swerve
aged,
for 2 reasons. Because it says 10 in the number and the 10 year.
Yes.
It just doesn't happen. And the 0.4s are uncommon.
And it's also multi-cask because it's...
Yeah, it's 2 casks, isn't it?
Yeah, something and red wine.
It's standard.
Barolo red wine.
The 15.10 was the 15.10 the Colombian oak.
Well, I can smell peat the other night. Yeah, that was probably us with the Octomores.
Was the 15.10 in the Colombian white oak?
No, that was the other one.
The 14.4.
That was the 14.4. Okay, so the swerve oak.
He brought 2 Octomores. We brought 2 Octomores. Actually, we did bring 2 Octomore samples. So once we got to the 4th sample, I realised we weren't going to the English. Yeah. It just wasn't going to happen. So I was
already being careful because I didn't have the Irishman because obviously I was planning on driving. I was having a lot smaller measure of all of these.
Whereas I was having we'll get to. So
for a while,
I then said to David, "Look, number one." I said to number one, I don't think we're going because we've got a few things we need to take care of and things that are more important. Okay, how about we spend the money here instead? And David looked and said, all right then. I then asked the guy behind the bar, has the guy got back to you about the Macallan? No. Here's my money. I get a voucher on my phone. I got a discount as well.
Yeah.
So a bottle that was 100 and something.
We think.
Well, it might have been more because I got a discount, didn't I? 120. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I took a £20 voucher and got it for 85.
Yeah.
So I got the Macallan Night on Earth, which is officially my birthday whiskey. And then I decided, because we weren't going to the English, I said to the other guy, if you've got £300 to spend, what would you buy with it? And I legit just said this. And he then said, oh,
yeah,
300.
You sort of said it out loud, and I suggested the King Alexander Dalmore.
Yeah.
The employee that nices us was kind of busy.
He was
so then you asked the other gentleman, and then he was like, okay, right.
And he found one called Gordon MacPhail's Spey Malt, which is a Macallan 20-year-old at 60. Hang on, where is it? I've got it written down. Macallan Night on Earth. Where is it?
Did you just write Spey Malt?
60.5%. And I paid for it instantly, opened it straight away, and we had that.
Yeah.
But it gets messy, so I'm going to just read off the list of whiskies here that I had.
So for those of you who like lists, buckle up.
Okay, so from the evening of the whiskey tasting event to to about 2:30 in the afternoon or something. I had Edradour 11, the Lochfine Lechig, Highland Park 15, the Filey Bay, and Berry Brown Rudd. That was the tasting evening.
Yeah.
I did not try the Secret Orkney then. The following day, I had the Bunnahabhain 30, the Glen Scotia 25, Ochter Moor 15.10 10-year-old, Ochter Moor 14.45-year-old, signatory Secret Orkney, the Irishman, of course, as well. I had an Elgin Classic, Macallan Night on Earth in Heref, which we opened in the shop, offered to everyone. They all said yes. You did too.
Yeah. I
had a glass of Torraveg Special Reserve at 61.5%. Murray McDavid Tomatin 15-year-old, which was also cast strength. Ardner Merkin, this whiskey exclusive at 58.8%. Will I Am Isla Sun, which is a peated whiskey with Will I Am's name on it, at 66%. A Filden Rye, Glenfarclas 12-year-old, the whiskey shop exclusive at 57.1%. Gordon MacPhail's Spey Malt, Balvenie Weaker Peat is at the end here, which is now. I had in total...
And don't forget the Acacia Honey the afternoon before as well.
Separate that, that's different. But Acacia Honey and hot chocolate. But I had, in that evening, I had 14 glasses of, 14 measures of whiskey, at the end of which David had 7.
Yeah.
I had 14. He then asked me how because I did this thing with my hand. I rubbed my fingers with my thumb. If they've gone numb, I know I'm going. I'm a bit. I was on the edge of beyond half cut.
Yeah, we went from having like a Pret or something. We were like, we need an emergency Nando's.
Yeah, there was 20. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But we basically he then niced us the man in the shop and gave us 8 samples and then more. He gave me a bottle of Glenfarclas.
He went upstairs twice more and came down with stuff.
Yeah, so I now know where all the samples are. I went upstairs, got lost because it's a maze. I had to use their restroom and asked if I could because I drank so much.
Yeah.
And they had they came downstairs with a little whiskey bag of medicine bottles, 10 CLs for us. Yeah. And I held the bag out to David number 2 and said, for joining us, I'd love to give you one. So he put his hand in the bag and took one out. So it was 9 samples.
Yeah.
But then he wasn't. The guy in the shop wasn't done. He gave me the bottle of the Farclas that we'd sampled, which is like got about a quarter of the bottle left. We poured some into it actually, and I was like, "Well, shit."
He also gave us the bottle of the Velvetizer salted caramel liqueur.
Yeah, you've got that, haven't you? Yes. So we got, and that's unopened, and it's out
there somewhere. Yep.
I've written a list here because it's going to go in my whiskey notebook. I have in total 26 entries to put in my book.
Don't forget that he also filled some of the other things up. So there's like a Glenrothes 18.
Yeah, they're the ones you got. I have samples I didn't try. So I didn't try the Glenrothes. You did, I think.
Yes, that was actually the one I had. That was the one extra I had that you didn't.
I think at the point you did that, I was like, I'm going to have to stop soon. I've only had Weetabix. Yeah. We were having so much fun. Other David was there with us, and he was having a laugh too.
Our plan was about half an hour to an hour in the whiskey shop. We were there for 2.5 hours.
It gets better, really, because...
in the middle of the day.
For them, I'm sure it must... They were lovely, by the way, towards the end. They were laughing the whole time, because, I mean, I spent nearly £400. Yeah. You spent about 200 quid, because David bought his January. So I gave... all my family, David included, get money from me in January to buy treats. I gave David money X amount, and what did David buy?
So David was a bit thrown off by, first of all, trying to think of more things to buy. But I looked around and I was like, well, I liked the Edredale last night, so I'm going to buy that. And then I worked out how much I had left. And we hadn't really paid any attention to this before, but on the way into the shop that day, they had a sign outside, and the sign was about Jura and their new Perspectives series. And it's a 16-year-old whiskey, and we were started looking at it, and we were saying, I'm sure they used to do a 16-year-old.
Yeah, you looked at
and
that.
I looked it up, and it was the Durac Zone, which was part of their original set when we used to have Origin, Superstition and Prophecy, and Durac Zone.
We have Superstition, don't we?
Yeah, over there.
Yeah, you've got it, and I've got it.
There was a couple of other named ones before they started really with the age statements. Some of them were age, but they weren't called the age; they were just called whatever.
Yeah.
And I looked, and this was, well, with my voucher I had, this was within the budget. So I got the Jura 16-year-old New Perspectives number 1, which is down here. It is natural chill filtered, natural colour, non-chill filtered, ex-bourbon and Oloroso sherry.
It's at 40%?
And it is 46.5%, which is right in the wheelhouse of what we like.
Not bad. And the Edredale was, I mean, he's probably not going to open that, but it's still really nice.
No, the Edredale is a bit more. There's 674 bottles of it. It is 57.9%.
Cask strength, Oloroso.
11-year-old, and I have cask number 366.
Congratulations. It was, to be fair, it was a wonderful afternoon. We were there for 2.5 hours, and I was still hammered when we were feeling it. We were elsewhere for a while, and I was so dehydrated.
Yeah.
But we then went afterwards. We couldn't get to Nando's because they had a 25-minute wait, and I'm like, I've got to eat.
Yeah.
So we went to Weatherspoons with the David number 2, and I was like, I'm paying for lunch. You joined us. You joined us, and that's me.
Yeah.
That's the list, by the way, in the bar for those who are interested. I paid for us. We had burgers and he had pizza. Yeah. We hung out for about half an hour more. We had to leave though because we had to go see some family. And
but we have exchanged a number with him, so I have his details, so that we can contact him to do other things in the future.
We did send him a message thanking him, and he then decided to send back pictures of him having more fun drinking with other people.
Yeah, Burns Night celebrations.
Although I will admit, if I'm here in July or August,
we're
going to message him and be like, "Yo, we're about to throw down some money and buy another big decent bottle. You want to join?" Yes, I'm there. You know he'll throw down. You know, if I rock up and get that 25 Bunnahabhain, he'll join us. He'll join for that alone.
Yeah,
like I'm not against that.
He was really good because he was just very fun to talk to, knowledgeable.
He was lovely as well.
Interested.
Like he was lovely. He wasn't too much.
No.
And we had so much fun talking.
He was so grateful because anything that was one of ours, even the little sample pots I took, he was like, "Oh, it's yours. No, you pour because it's yours. You decide. You do."
He wouldn't touch he wouldn't touch the Bunnahabhain 30 until I opened it. I then poured it. I then passed the bottle to him to smell. But I did give him my sample of the Octomore we meant for the English. David gave him his. Mine was a 10.1. Yours 11.3.
Yeah.
And he got to take those with him.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you come here to join us. We've invited you. We've thrown down £600. The shop is more than happy to take our money. They knew we were good for it. They sent us away with a lot of stuff. We actually swung by today briefly, but had to leave because it was wet. The weather was horrendous.
And they also had a sign on the door saying back in 2 minutes.
Yeah, sadly,
we were there.
I couldn't wait 2 minutes, sadly. But we did go into town early today. I was meant to go home, but the weather and other problems were against me, so I'll go tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But all in all, so I had sworn I would do a madness one last proper time. And as we left the store, David was like, "You madman."
I think it is safe to say between the number of bottles purchased,
the
number of samples provided to us,
and the points we received,
the number of points received, and the number of whiskies sampled, I think it's safe to say madness managed.
We completed whiskey, everyone.
Yeah, whiskey completed.
That list confirms it. Thus is written, thus is law. It was jolly.
Wait, hang on. If we've completed whiskey, does that mean this is done?
No, we unlocked the next level.
Excellent.
We
have leveled up.
We didn't have to use a cheat code.
No, you mean we didn't have to press left 1, left 2, R1, R2?
No, up, down, down, left, right, left, right.
A, B, A, B.
Yeah.
Start, select.
Of course. Or if you're a Tekken player, slam the keyboard and hope for the best. Because none of you know how to play a game properly.
Yeah.
Of the whiskies I tried, so there are some here that were absolutely brutally strong. That Isla, the Will.i.am one.
Oh yeah, that was
was
like 66%, wasn't it?
But the Torrevieja Special Reserve whiskey shop exclusive, I really wanted to buy it. I really did.
That was. I sniffed that, but I didn't try it. But that smelt strong.
Lovely. The Will.i.am one threw me because of brutality. But then the Filden Rye that I had brought it right back down again. I'm like,
but that Will.i.am one was brilliant though, because
it was Lefroy.
Yeah. And about 10 minutes after it had been opened, I just found a cork lying on the side.
Yeah.
And there was no marking on this cork to say what it was. And I was like, I wonder what this is. Picked it up, has it? That's Lefroy.
He did as well. Thing is, at that point, I'd had so much to drink. So at one point, I had a Jerez in my hand. And then I was given another sample of the Secret Orkney. And I'm like, hang on, which one's which?
Yeah, I was like, people kept saying, what am I drinking now? And I was looking at the colour of things. Like, yeah, well, it's not that because it's the wrong colour.
The guy in the shop did that. Which one's this? I'm like...
I was like, it could be the Macallan because of the colour.
I reckon it's the colour of his. Yeah. It was like Secret Orkney. And I was like, the Jerez Star.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, that's the Lefroy cork. And I moved it to the bottle and you were like, is it? I got it like within about a foot of his nose. I was like, yeah, that's the... You didn't even need to get it close. You could just... Yeah,
you knew what it was.
The Lefroy smell, that quintessential medicinal peat. It was just like, yeah, Lefroy.
You know what you're getting. But we did crack open. The two bottles I bought that day, the Macallan and the
Macallan and the Macallan.
Yeah, but double Macallan cancels out, so we drank nothing. I opened them straight away and was like, "Yo, who wants to drink?" And the guy who recommended it was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
The Macallan, I'm like, anyone go? And because
he was like, yeah, I suppose I should for educational purposes.
Because he said that he felt Macallans were too expensive, and I was like, yeah, but I got a £20 discount and 10% off from the guy behind the counter. Both gave me discounts and saved me about 60 quid.
Yeah,
I used 2,000 points, and I've still got another lot.
Yeah,
there we used well. Yeah, but we had so much fun. And David, how many bottles do you have there? Include your Balvenie, by the way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 bottles
Acacia
plus
honey?
about 7 samples plus the acacia.
So 10 bottles and a load of samples.
Yeah.
Yeah. You completed half completed whiskey. Actually, you have almost as many as me. I just have.
I got to double figures.
Yeah, you did. Mostly with my money.
Yeah, which is brilliant because it's not my money there.
Yeah, damn right. It was so much fun because that was the point. But to be fair, when we went in on the Friday, it was fun. But
it was a different sort of fun, wasn't it? It was the excitement of being able to throw down the money and buy.
I mean, carrying all those bags back to the car, my forearms were killing me.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to all the samples then. We joined the whiskey evening and we were in a corner.
Yeah.
And we were very introverted in that respect. And David, number 2, was actually stood next to me. So every so often he'd make a joke. He heard me make a joke or he made a joke and we're just laughing. And then naturally we became friends together.
And there was we talked about some port as well.
Oh, yeah,
and there was a little bit of mockery of gin.
He mocked my the port thing when I mentioned the cockburn thing.
Yes.
Because of you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you started telling everyone about my nose and
I showed him the picture. Showed him the picture as well with the car crash on it. Yeah, and I was like, I have to show him.
Yeah.
That was the next day though.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had. I showed them the Highland Park ice. So they could see what it looked like.
Yes,
like,
you did. Yeah,
amazing. You told them the story. We had a great laugh.
Yeah.
But that is probably the most fun we have had in a whiskey shop adventure ever. Even last year, we had a few samples, but it wasn't like this because the guy now knows what we are like. So he's clearly more relaxed.
Yeah.
And after a few drinks, I mean, they had to finish their work day.
Yeah. We got to leave and have food. They were like, we're still working.
Yeah, one had to go to a gig, a blues gig. You're not going to a gig. But they have to keep working. And after all the samples we had, and they had, I don't know if they had as many as me and David, but I mean, he had number 2 had a lot.
You and him had the most. They had most of what we had.
Everything except for one thing, except for your 2 samples and one, the
Glenrothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I said no to because I knew at that point if I had too much more, I was going to be
done. Yeah. You didn't have the 2 samples I took because you've had them before, so we spread them out. They're only 3 CLs, so we spread them out against David and the 2 people that worked in the shop. Yeah.
I just wanted to, chill out and try not to fall over. And writing this list earlier on when David was out doing some bits and bobs, I realised just how much I took photos of them.
Yeah.
Because I knew I wasn't going to remember, and then I remember you remember the Irishman.
I only remember the Irishman just now when you said we started with the Bruno. I was like, no, hang on, no, we didn't because I didn't.
Honestly,
I missed one at the start, and I remember what it was.
I forgot it. Because it was just it was a throwaway. It was on purpose. A throwaway. but it was the most fun we've had, and I'm looking forward to going back in the summer more than likely.
Yeah.
We'll give David a buzz and be like, "Yo."
We'll check in on the calendar as well. Make sure it's the day that the right people are working.
Hey, I mean, if it's the one guy, yeah, any of them really, but him especially, yeah,
Yeah.
because we know he knows we're good.
Yeah.
They all do, to be fair. I mean, the slightly more stern guy who was in on Saturday, he loosened up when he was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to go and say, "Yo, I'm going to buy the Bunnahabhain 25 with cash. Do you want to try some?"
Yeah.
And he'll suddenly light up and go, "Yes."
Yeah. It was funny watching them serving though as well, because
Oh god, yeah, because
they had to keep moving us out of the way. They were trying to. People kept looking at what we were drinking.
someone wanted to join. I'm sure.
And yeah, they were looking at like the things we had, because we had like cups and stuff. We had to keep tidying up.
Oh, the
We had little sample cups everywhere.
They're not cups; they're more like the ones you put pills.
Yeah,
little pill ones.
but obviously they kept like opening stuff and trying. Like there was some people like trying some Taliskers, and they had actually two. They come in. They were looking for something. I don't know whether it was specifically Talisker, but they had the Talisker Port Re and the Talisker Special Release, which was the port cask one. And they were trying them, and they were looking at that. And that's strong. They said about the special release being strong. I said it is strong, but it is really good.
Yeah,
and they tried both. They decided on the Port Re because it was more mellow for whoever they're buying it for.
Customer looking for I think Edredale on the night of the event. They couldn't find it. It was actually the guy who had his girlfriend with him, and because she wanted the Edredale, I was like, I'm literally pointing at it. Yeah. You're good. Get it, brother. Go on.
Yeah, someone came in. They bought someone came in and bought the Ardnahoe during the day while we were there.
They did,
someone
bought some medicine bottles.
Someone bought a couple of medicine bottles. Someone came in with some samples.
But they were trying to serve customers, and the guy who helped us was nice to us. And I put that on Twitter. Right? I got nice to the whiskey shop.
Yeah.
People didn't understand the word nice. I was like, how can you not understand what that means? Okay. He was getting annoyed with people calling or coming in.
Yeah, he was getting annoyed that more customers were coming and he had to stop drinking and having fun and had to serve people.
He did that when the Bunnahabhain was being
served. Just imagine me doing that at work. Someone else wants a bulb fit. I'm just trying to have fun.
It tickled me to no end because
I've got to stop drinking and sell more whiskey.
Right. He had the Bunna on the counter and he was worried he was going to knock it off. Because that's when he realised he had to carry on drinking. He had to drink it because he wanted to, then
he needed to put it down. They couldn't put it down because he had to keep moving it.
The Oxton Moors as well, which were great. It was nice also because each of them, and David as well, number 2, they have very different insights into these whiskies. Like, it was one that was heavily vanilla.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was, but it was insanely vanilla. And I got given it, and it might have been the Highland Park, the Signatory, maybe.
The Glen Scotia, I think, was quite...
Not like this.
It wasn't
I thought it was butterscotch when I first smelt it, and I can't remember what it was. It might have been the Signatory Secret Orkney. I don't remember. But it was so nice, and I loved it a lot. But I couldn't taste vanilla. That's the problem. I can't taste vanilla for some reason, unless it's an ice cream or a cake. Not the cake I had earlier. But it was a wonderful day, and we had to get food, and I was still suffering for the remainder of the day.
Yeah.
So we afterwards
we both were dehydrated when we finally got home.
Well, yes, we were sadly left without much access to water. So afterwards, we came back here for a bit, sat down, chilled out, and then when David was
hungry, took some photos.
Yep, came back, took some photos, which are on Twitter, Instagram. They've been on the server as well in some place, and. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my apologies. We then went out. Welcome back, Leona. We went and got some chimkin.
Yeah.
And I bought a lot.
Because we didn't have enough chimkin the night before, we went and got more chimkin. And
we did.
Meg went chimkin heavy.
You bought the same thing.
Yeah.
I decided an 8-piece bucket. I'll try it.
You were going for a 12-piece.
Yeah, but I didn't know how big the bits were. The thing is,
I reined him in.
To be honest, it's fine. But I didn't know, because I've not obviously had a bucket in so long, that they were going to do me a little bit dirty here, because the pieces at the top were quite small. Then I got to the bottom, and the last ones were monstrous.
The last one's about 3 pieces put together.
Yeah, I'll eat that for breakfast tomorrow. That's my breakfast tomorrow morning, with the gravy. Yeah. I'll have that tomorrow for breakfast. I'll have that before you get up.
Yeah, probably.
That'll be my Weetabix. No milk. Jeez, that'll ruin it. That'd be like putting horseradish in a J2O. And just a quick. So today we went out for lunch with David's father before I was meant to go home.
Yeah.
And accidentally the waitress knocked or dropped the
The
horseradish.
horseradish fell off my
or your
plate into
his
Dad's drink.
And I said he should try it because never knock something until you get round to give it a little stir and have a crack at it. He declined.
But she did bring him a fresh one and me a fresh horseradish.
And she apologised,
Yeah.
which was she apologised anyway, but it was an accident. We all knew that. Although I think horseradish has no place on a plate. But the whiskey stuff was a lot of fun, and obviously there's no spending happening now for a while because I spent literally every penny I had in cash, and the money I earmarked because I was going to buy at the English Whiskey Distillery the English Founders Private Cellar Batch 17-year-old white wine cask, and I was going to buy a decanter. David was going to buy one of the barrels you can bottle your own
one, and probably a decanter as well.
Yeah, that was what the plan was. But when we realised things changed, I simply said, "Look, we're not going. We can't do it tomorrow because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
let's just do it here. Screw it. Because we're having enough fun.
Yeah,
that's where the Spey Malt and the Macallans, well, both of them, and your two came in. And we were like, yeah, all right, we're having fun. This is great. And we walked away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and they have won money.
Yeah.
So yes, in total, I guess I did throw $3,000 down. Just over.
But
I was on the budget though. In retrospect, though,
it's one of those things though, because I mean, some of their prices are a little bit more than you can get if you buy it online, or okay, we didn't get specific things from the English, although they do now have a bit more of a range of the English, so in future we could get at it. But the way we've been treated by them, how accommodating they were with just letting us take over half the shop for 2.5 hours of sampling, how helpful they were with recommendations, the free entry into the tasting session, ordering stuff for us without taking any money, just trusting that we'll buy it. You want to support them for them doing that because they've looked after us.
Yeah.
And obviously, if we support them now, they'll be there to do it in the future. And obviously, I say small business, they are a small shop. I know that it's a chain, there's quite a few of them around the country, but we're not talking something like a Marks and Spencer level chain or anything. So obviously we want there to be shops like this because yes, you can go and buy a bottle of whiskey in Tesco or whatever, but
actually
it's no good.
Suggest that, didn't we?
You can't really go into Tesco and ask someone for a recommendation because are they going to know? I mean, if I'm happy wandering around in Tesco and someone's like, I don't know what to buy, I go, well, that might be quite good.
Jamisons, mate.
Yeah, I have recommended Penderyn to someone in Tesco before.
Good man.
I think the fact you can walk in, they'll give you samples of stuff. They can tell you about the distilleries. They can tell you about the history of the brands and all that sort of thing. Sometimes that's what makes the shopping experience because you're not just buying something. You're buying into the person, the knowledge, the product, the history. It makes it far more it's a meaningful purchase.
It's a good experience. That shop's been there for 18 years.
Yeah,
that's what they told me yesterday. And I realised that only opened just after I started uni, or we started university.
Yeah, we were at university before that shop opened.
By about a year.
Yeah.
And my first time going there, I went in with a housemate, and the barrels were on a different side.
Yes,
I tried samples.
Behind the door on the left.
I know it was the guy who served then because he was working there back then.
The bell used to be over the door.
It was, yes. But the first thing I ever bought was an Arvalauer 10s, a Secret Santa for a housemate. First thing I ever bought myself was a 20 cl bottle of Lagavulin. Which
you did,
I wished I kept because I think that would have been a fun little thing to keep hold of. But it's always been a good shop and a great experience. And this year was especially great. And I hope to go back and hopefully do another whiskey evening because we'd never been to one. And that was so much fun to listen to people talk and to just have fun. Because it was just us talking. There was a guy on your side talking to us, and he was not much older or younger than us in his Captain America t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then there was David on the other side, dressed like you, an old man. Yeah. Except he was an old man, you're not.
No. And then, to be fair, one of the people he was with was potentially going to come back yesterday as well, but had something else then go on.
It would have been cool to have extra people, but I think we managed with the 5 of us total.
Yeah.
We did all right. And it wasn't until about 7, 8 in the evening that I finally got my feeling back in my hands. So
yeah, this is why we didn't do a stream yesterday as well, because we didn't think we could actually sufficiently deal with any more alcohol.
That was something I said. Point. Yeah, excuse me. I had said there's no version of this where I can do a stream knowing 4, maybe 5 samples of whiskey put in front of me. I can't do any of them. Or we can do just one.
So he's struggling with Balvenie today. So.
Oh, I haven't started it yet properly. David had actually said we can do just one and talk, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
It feels wrong. If you're going to do the Glenmorangie stream, you've got to do it properly.
Yeah.
So we will when we're able to, which won't be yet. I'm afraid that there's going to be a little bit of a hiatus, but not because of anything wrong. It's just not possible right now with commitments. We might do more of these, yes, but beyond that, no.
Yeah.
Because we need to know what's going on first. But yeah, we really enjoyed this. We wanted to share it because it's so. I mean, just because of how many I've written down.
Yeah.
And now I've added Irishman. How dumb it is! Oh, hang on, no.
What we should point out is
no. I
hang
forgot.
on.
I forgot one. I forgot one.
There's more being added.
I forgot one.
While he adds this, and I have no idea what he's adding, I should point out basically, I currently have a good number of bags in my boot of stuff that's going back with Meg, along with there's a large pile in my lounge of stuff that's not going back this time. We have significant quantities of transport still to deal with.
I had one other thing I forgot about, and that makes it number 21. Glen Elgin Virgin Oak, 46%. Elgin.
I'm sure you said Elgin somewhere.
If I did, I didn't write it.
All right, you definitely said it.
Yeah,
no, you haven't written it, have you? No.
So it's 21. I had 15 samples. That explains an awful lot. Yeah, he gave me a little sample of it to bring back.
Yeah.
Got a few other samples.
What did I get in that little bottle?
Well, I got a bottle of Glendronach 21.
We got the really, really small amount of Kilkerran 8, which we don't know what it is, but neither of us had. We just got given this very, very small amount of it.
Yeah. I got a Glendronach 21, I think, which is in my rucksack, I think, in here.
Oh, yeah, the hand sanitizer bottle.
Yeah, I think so.
It does genuinely look like one of those little travel bottles of hand sanitizer.
I think it's in my rucksack.
It was in the front of it earlier, or at one point. You had it right near the front
badges are in there now.
Behind Earth.
It's like a little bottle used to put oil on a chain. Yes, we had a great time. Really did. And hope you guys have enjoyed this little story time. The audio for this will be up on YouTube soon. It'll be here as well. I know it's just the three of us this evening. And we're very grateful, to be honest, because didn't think anyone would join us. We were happy just to record it and upload it, but David's got to learn how to send things over via WeTransfer. I've
done it once or twice.
Thank you. I think owing to us needing to finish up for the evening, we're going to...
Yeah, we still have cake on the go because...
Well, David does, yes. I had to ditch mine because I can't do it.
Yeah, and film to finish as well.
Yes, we do.
You should all feel very grateful we paused the movie to have an interlude to do this as well.
Yes, because I'm so happy to watch Hayley Atwell suck at a character that is actually insufferable and moronic. Thanks again for joining us, guys, and we'll hopefully see you guys all soon.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us in our madness, and we will keep you up to date with anything else we do in future. Check us out on obviously Instagram and that if you are not already following us. And yes, good evening. Take care.